Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Chapter 41. Yi Langtian rested for a day in Qian Town. On the second day, I went to the Nirvana Stone Vein where Daoyi Sacred Land is located. However, he didn't go deep. Because at the moment near the Nirvana Stone Vein, the security is very strict. Daoyi Sacred Land's disciples were patrolling back and forth, as if they were guarding something. Seeing this scene, Yi Langtian knew clearly. Qian Town is the gathering place of the evil spirits. Today, Daoyi Sacred Land's flamboyant actions in the Nirvana Stone Veins will definitely make those ruthless people who teach the murder list notice. Therefore, the necessary precautions are still required. Of course, it can be seen from the side that the fruit of the Divine Essence Nest Tree has not yet matured. Thinking of this, Yi Langtian left without hesitation. The next few days, Yi Langtian is in Qian Town. While practicing, he was aware of any disturbance. Finally, on the third day, Yi Langtian noticed that a strong force was approaching the Nirvana Stone Vein in Daoyi Sacred Land. Are you going to start? Yi Langtian thought to himself. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. But said, the other side. Deep in the Nirvana Stone Veins. Su Mushui, Qin Lu and the others were looking nervously at the fruit of the Divine Essence Nest Tree in front of them. After a few days of nurturing, the fruit on the present Shenyuan nest tree has become more and more colorful. This Divine Essence nest tree is ebony in color, like a tree but not a vine, and it is more than 10 feet tall. The fruits of the Divine Essence nest tree looked bright red, with a scorching aura that made people feel as if they were being roasted by fire. There are 9 fruits in front of them, the size of a fist, and the whole body is surrounded by a haze-like fire. Is this the fruit of the Divine Essence nest tree? Seeing this scene, everyone whispered. Speaking of which, it was the first time that Su Mushui and the others had seen the fruit of the Divine Essence nest tree, and they were looking at it carefully. After a while, Su Mushui's thoughts moved, and with a gesture of her jade hand, she put the 9 fruits into her sleeves and stored them. Then wait quietly for the root of the Divine Essence nest tree. What will happen? At the same time, Qin Lu and others were also vigilant among other brothers and sisters to prevent others from attacking. After everyone was anxiously waiting for a cup of tea, they saw a green light spit out from the Shenyuan nest tree. As soon as she appeared, the energy between heaven and earth was in chaos, and the invisible wind and thunder were raging. As you can see, this thing is extraordinary. The seeds of the Divine Essence nest tree were green, with rune intertwined by the avenues on it. At this moment, there was a vigorous energy of vitality escaping. I didn't expect that seeds were really bred in this Divine Essence nest tree. When Su Mushui saw this green seed, she couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Afterwards, the seed was carefully collected without revealing any trace. At the same time, the other disciples of Daoyi Sacred Land were also extremely excited. I feel like I found a big baby this time. After going back, there must be some awards in Sacred Land. But now another question in front of everyone is, how to bring back the seeds of this Divine Essence nest tree. Su Mushui was about to discuss with Qin Lu. Suddenly, she seemed to sense something, and her face changed. The next moment, dozens of piercing sounds came from a distance. Damn, it was discovered by someone, this time. Mushui, the battle will start later, you go first with the seeds of the Divine Essence nest tree, don't worry about us. Seeing this, Qin Lu couldn't help but scolded angrily. Quickly explained to Su Mushui. After all, neither she nor the seeds of the Divine Essence nest tree can be in trouble. Do not. Senior Sister Qin, you should go first and I'll stay. Hearing this, Su Mushui shook her head. If she really left, it would be difficult to explain it when she went back. Besides, how could these villains let her go so easily? Staying together and fighting side by side is the most correct way. That being the case, everyone can only fight. But it's really coming to the moment of life and death. Mushui, we will protect you and go first. In this regard, Qin Lu sighed helplessly. Then he took out a long whip-shaped heavenly rank spirit treasure from his waist, looked at the figure who was about to jump, and waited. Qin Lu, we meet again. You are from Daoyi Sacred Land. Speaking of which, our Blood Shadow Gang really doesn't want to conflict with you. It's just that the seeds in the Shenyuan nest tree are of great importance, and we have to take a risk. After a few breaths, a group of villains from the Blood Shadow Gang came here. At this moment, the one in the lead looked at Qinlu and said with a wicked smile. This man, dressed in blood, looked in his early 30s. Although his face looks tough, there is some evil in his eyes. The whole person exudes a chilling atmosphere. Shen Shuo, the third leader of the Blood Shadow Gang, the 8th ranked Nirvana Realm powerhouse. Ranked in the top 10 on the sect murder list. Shen Shuo, you Blood Shadow Gang really want to fight against our sacred land. We've passed the news back to sect. Sacred Land Elder will be out soon. You can't escape death by then. Seeing this person in front of him who is also famous in Qian Town, Qinlu couldn't help but said coldly. Ha ha ha. Qinlu, don't be alarmist there. Aren't you afraid that you don't know where our big boss came from? Dedicate the seeds of this Shenyuan nest tree to the Yuantian Great Sect, and then the Yuantian Great Sect will protect you. Do you, Sacred Land, dare to deal with us? Or, you Daoyi Sacred Land dare to be the enemy of Yuantian Great Sect? Hearing these words, Shen Shuo and the gang members burst into laughter. He looked at Qinlu and the others with disdain. You Blood Shadow Gang are courting death. Here, Su Mushui saw the faces of these people, she couldn't help biting her teeth and shouted tenderly. Chapter 42. Who does not know in Dongshuanyu, Daoyi Sacred Land and Yuantian Great Sect are deadly enemies. However, since the overall strength of Yuantian Great Sect is above Daoyi Sacred Land, the head of Daoyi Sacred Land is always willing to take a calm attitude. Therefore, when Daoyi Sacred Land had a conflict with Yuantian Dajao, it was most likely that Daoyi Sacred Land was used to giving in everywhere. This also led to some people in Yuantian Great Teaching, who despise the people of Daoyi Sacred Land. In fact, Daoyi Sacred Land is indeed a bit useless. Hundreds of years ago, Daoyi Sacred Land had a great genius. One person once killed Yuantian Great Sect. Just as a disciple, he slaughtered many elders of Yuantian Great Sect. But in the end, Yuan Tian taught a giant to show up and kill him alive. Afterwards, Daoyi Sacred Land was very angry. Many people wanted to fight the Yuantian Great Sect, but they were all blocked by the head of Daoyi Sacred Land. This breath can only be swallowed reluctantly. In addition, among the previous coaches, the geniuses of Daoyi Sacred Land were in the secret realm of ancient times, and suffered heavy casualties. All this is what Yuantian University professor intended. Even the leaders of the younger generation were beheaded by Yuantian Sanji. But even so, the head of Daoyi Sacred Land is still reluctant to start a war with Yuantian Great Sect. This also caused Yuantian Dajao to look down on Daoyi Sacred Land at all. Right now, Su Mushui was always worried about this matter, but the Blood Shadow Gang joked about it today, so how could she not be angry? Say it. On Su Mushui's blue silk, a hairpin fell off. With a single stroke of the void, there is a hairpin that breaks through the sky, like a sharp sword, directly attacking Shen Shuo. In this regard, Shen Shuo's expression was indifferent. On the palm, Nirvana's golden energy rolled, turning into a palm made of gold. With a single block, this technique is broken. However, the gang members with lower cultivation base beside him suffered. Under the hairpin, the slashing hairpin slashed, directly causing some people's heads to be different, and blood shot. Damn it! Shen Shuo scolded angrily. His breath rose, and the Yuan force that belonged to the 8 Yuan Nirvana realm swept out all of a sudden, raging towards Su Mushui and the others. But Su Mushui was not afraid. Yuan Li roared out while the dress was flying, and stopped directly. I didn't expect that you were also in the 8 Yuan Nirvana realm. It seems that I alone can't stop you. Seeing this scene, Shen Shuo's pupils shrank, and then he was quite surprised. But then, another person flashed behind him. This person, as soon as he appeared, opened his mouth and spit, and a golden flying sword shot straight at Su Mushui's face. Jin Feng, the second head of the Blood Shadow Gang. Twilight, be careful. Seeing this, Qin Lu hurriedly shouted from behind Su Mushui. You know, this golden peak is in the Nirvana realm. Su Mushui's face was unafraid, and when his mind moved, the green hairpin directly greeted him and slammed with the golden flying sword. At the same time, her whole body lightly flew out and landed on a cliff. Then, with a thought, a hair comb flew out of the cuff. During the change of Yuan Li, the hairbrush was transformed into a jade chin, lying on his knees. I saw that she quickly plucked the strings with her jade fingers, and soon the sounds of heaven echoed in the mountains. The next moment, the sound of those strings turned into a sharp blade, killing Jin Feng and Shen Shuo overwhelmingly. In response, the two quickly used their yuan power to form a shield in front of them to resist. As the little princess of Daoyi Sacred Land, Su Mushui has a lot of treasures. Even if it is an 8 yuan nirvana cultivation base, one is worth 2, and it will not fall behind. The other side, Qin Lu and others also fought with the Blood Shadow Gang leaders. In the void, all kinds of martial arts are flying, spirit treasures are bombarding, and the battle is very fierce. It seems that as long as you try to support these two people, you can hold on until the Sacred Land Elder arrives. Su Mushui swept the current situation with her beautiful eyes and thought to herself. But, at the next moment, she suddenly changed her pretty face. Suddenly, a gray-robed man appeared beside him. At the same time, a broken yuansuo went straight to her swan-like jade neck. As if the next moment, about to be pierced. Feeling the stinging pain from her skin, Su Mushui was about to struggle when she heard the gray-robed man say sharply. Dao Yi, little princess of Sacred Land, don't move. If you get hurt, it's not good. Hand over the divine essence nest, I can save your life. And here, when Qin Lu saw that Su Mushui was being held hostage, her face paled and she shouted. Twilight Snow. At this moment, Qin Lu only reacted. No wonder he had never seen the head of the Blood Shadow Gang, who had been hiding in the dark. As long as everyone relaxes their vigilance, he will come out like a poisonous snake, making it hard to guard against. Don't think about it. Hearing this, Su Mushui gritted her teeth and refused coldly. Even if she dies, she will not hand over the seeds of the divine essence nest tree. I've known for a long time that you have a strong temperament and will fight to the death. However, I have my own way to deal with you. Hearing this, Cheng Hao, the head of the Blood Shadow Gang, grinned. Then, he looked at Jin Feng and Shen Shuo not far away with a proud expression, and ordered. Since Daoyi Sacred Land little princess is unwilling to hand over the divine essence nest, the two of you will kill a Daoyi Sacred Land disciple every 10 breaths. I think she is very happy to see this scene. Yes, the boss. Hearing this, Shen Shuo gave a mean smile. For someone like Su Mushui who values Sacred Land more than her own life, this method is undoubtedly the most effective against her. You are shameless. Seeing that Cheng Hao came up with this way to deal with him, forcing her to hand over the seeds of the divine essence nest tree, Su Mushui was so angry that her eyebrows stood on end. Even, there are traces of frost on the beautiful eyes. The same sentence, as long as you hand over the seeds of the divine essence nest tree, we will let you go, so why bother? By the way, 3 breaths have passed. Cheng Hao sneered. He seemed to enjoy Su Mushui's helpless appearance. On the side of the Blood Shadow Gang, Jin Feng and Shen Shuo saw such a situation, with the exception of gloating smiles on their faces. It is to walk towards Qin Lu and others step by step. These Dayan Sacred Land disciples are only in the Nirvana realm of 6 or 7 yuan, how can they be the opponents of Jin Feng and Shen Shuo? Therefore, if you resist a little, you will be beaten up. It's been 9 breaths. If you don't make a decision, someone will die soon. After a few breaths, Cheng Hao saw that Su Mushui was still indifferent, and couldn't help but speak. The reason why he didn't kill Su Mushui immediately was because she was afraid that she would destroy the seeds of the divine essence nest tree. If this is the case, then he is nothing but a bamboo basket. If you want me to hand over the seeds, there's no way. Su Mushui scolded. At the same time, she has already decided in her heart to destroy this divine essence nest seed today. It can't be handed over to the Blood Shadow Gang. Shen Shuo, do it. 10 breaths have passed. Cheng Hao didn't talk nonsense, and ordered directly. The next moment, then Shen Shuo walked towards a Daoyi Sacred Land disciple, and the sword that Yuan Li turned into easily broke the disciple's defense. When I saw that the late-stage body was about to be cut off, I never thought that there was a clear laughter from this Nirvana stone vein. Tisk tisk, it's really lively. Who? Chapter 43. Hearing this, Shen Shuo's face changed and he couldn't help asking sharply. At the same time, the people of the Blood Shadow Gang suddenly became vigilant and kept looking around. Which peer is here? You might as well show up and see. Here, Cheng Hao also said in a hoarse voice, with a little bit of vigilance in his eyes. The person who came can actually escape his detection. I am afraid that his strength is not ordinary. At this moment, Su Mushui also looked to the left and right with beautiful eyes. She was sure that the person who came would not be someone from Daoyi sacred land. It should be a passing practitioner. Shen Yuan Nest. This kind of good thing, how can you cheat your Blood Shadow Gang? You are the head of the Blood Shadow Gang, I will give you 10 breaths and let the people of sacred land go. Soon, behind the Nirvana stone veins, there was a young and handsome figure walking out with a leisurely face. This person is Yi Langtian. When he felt the action of the Blood Shadow Gang, he followed up in advance. It was also the last moment, a rather high-profile appearance. Only in this way can we win the favor of Sacred Land Little Princess to the greatest extent. Who am I? It turned out to be just a hairy boy, and you dare to threaten my Blood Shadow Gang. Seeing this person, Cheng Hao laughed and said contemptuously. Then, he instructed Jin Feng to the side. Go, kill this unsightly fellow. Just finished speaking. Jin Feng walked over with bad intentions towards Yi Langtian. Boy, you're really courting death, even the ruthless people on the Great Sect's murder list dare to provoke them. In the next life, your eyes will be brighter. Jin Feng threatened Yi Langtian step by step, and the whole person's momentum suddenly soared. The coercion from Juan Nirvana realm is vented to Yi Langtian like a storm. The next moment, his figure suddenly burst out. When the hands were crossed and clenched, the golden light on the fists rose sharply, like a giant hammer, bombarding Yi Langtian. With this punch, even the 8 Yuan Nirvana realm will explode and die. But Yi Langtian couldn't help but smile when he saw this. When the fist smashed, there was a dragon roar in his body, and then golden scales bloomed on the skin, which looked indestructible. Boom! Jin Feng slammed with a punch, and a dull sound came out, and his pair of fists immediately became bloody. Then, he screamed and let out a wailing sound. At this time, Qin Lu and other talents discovered that Jin Feng's arms were bleeding, and the white bones were exposed, looking terrible. It is conceivable that Yi Langtian is covered with golden scales, how much his fleshly body has reached. Boy, I'm going to kill you. Under the great pain, Jin Feng roared. When he opened his mouth and spit, a golden flying sword carried the sound of wind and thunder, and shot at Yi Langtian's eyebrows like lightning. The speed was so fast that the void shook with real fire. However, the flying sword didn't get close, and it broke down. What? Seeing this, Jin Feng's pupils shrank. He didn't expect this young man's body to reach such a level. Even the heavenly rank spirit treasure can't be hurt. Doesn't it mean that his physical body is comparable to the treasure of pure yuan? It's really boring. Before I can make a move, have you lost your skills? The ruthless man on the murder list of this great religion is just like that. Yi Langtian looked at Jin Feng indifferently and shook his head. Before he could speak, Yi Langtian stretched out his finger and pressed it down. In an instant, in the void, the world lost its color. An ancient giant finger slashed the sky, descended from the sky, and smashed it directly to the ground, smashing it to pieces. Seeing this scene, the people present couldn't help but take a deep breath. Horrible. If the person in front of him doesn't make a move, he will act resolutely as soon as he makes a move. He directly killed Jin Feng of the Juan Nirvana realm. That's the ruthless man on the Great Sect's murder list. Where did this young man come from? Cultivation base is so powerful. This young man, which great sect or sacred land is from Dongshuanyu? It seems that his strength is much stronger than my sister. Su Mushui saw that Yi Langtian had killed Jin Feng of the Juan Nirvana realm with just one move. Her beautiful eyes narrowed, and she thought to herself. In her opinion, only the descendants of the great sect or the children of sacred land have such strength. Boy, you killed Jin Feng and completely offended my Blood Shadow Gang. The gang leader gives you a chance to choose to join my Blood Shadow Gang or die. Here, Cheng Hao was shocked when he saw Jin Feng's death. Then he looked at Yi Langtian viciously, and said with a gloomy expression. He didn't know where the guy came from, but he acted so ruthlessly. Through the yuan force fluctuations that Yi Langtian shot just now, it is not difficult for Cheng Hao to see that this person's cultivation base was born in the profound realm in the half-step. It's just that the body is a bit difficult to deal with. Not to be able to deal with it. He was born in the Yuantian Great Sect, and naturally he has extremely good means. It's so loud. Hearing this, Yi Langtian sneered. This Changshu district is just a small success in the profound realm, how dare you speak madly like this? You must know that now Yi Langtian has mastered the skills of picking the stars and cutting the sky, and the heavenly dragon golden body art has also entered the door. In one breath, it can condense the Tianlong pattern to hundreds of thousands. Even if the profound realm Dacheng came, he would not be able to please him, let alone Cheng Hao, who was just a mere profound realm accomplice. Boy, you are courting death. Hearing this, Cheng Hao sneered. Immediately, the primordial force all over his body roared out, and the electric light and flint turned into a huge dark primal wheel, suspended beside him. This is the Yuantian Great Teaching Martial Arts, Demon Yuan Death Wheel Technique. Chapter 44. As soon as the dark primordial wheel appeared, Cheng Xuanzhou immediately released an aura of death. It seems to be from Juyu the underworld, which is creepy. In addition to this, it is still spinning, lingering in the hearts of everyone like a lullaby. This Yuantian great sect is worthy of being the number one great sect in the eastern profound region. Such martial arts actually contain a trace of death. That's something only the experts in the death profound realm can possess. I wonder if he can resist it. Daoyi, Sacred Land, Qin Lu and the others saw this scene, and they all changed their color, and looked at Yi Langtian with some worry. To know, Cheng Hao was the top 3 ruthless man on the great sect's murder list. It is said that in his hands, a person with a small level of achievement in the profound realm died. In addition, he was a deacon in the Yuantian great sect before. Magic crack. Cheng Hao thought about it and drank it in his mouth. With a wave of his hand, the dark primordial wheel turned into an afterimage and killed Yi Langtian. At this moment, the Yuan wheel is in the void, bursting with beams of dark beams, making it difficult to open your eyes, and there seems to be a yin wind roaring in front of you. Seeing this, Su Mushui frowned. Yuantian grand teaching this martial art is not small. One shot of the dark beam, everything is dying. Shot on the Nirvana stone vein, and the mountain collapsed immediately. But Yi Langtian was not afraid. He urged the heavenly dragon golden body art, and hundreds of thousands of heavenly dragon patterns surged out from his body, and the skin was completely covered by dragon scales. At the same time, a splendid dragon's might erupted out, causing the people present to be incomparably stunned. From a distance, Yi Langtian looks like a humanoid tyrannosaurus. Just with this strength, you want to kill me too. Yi Langtian shook his head and sneered. The palm of his hand made a move, and under the urging of Yuan Li, a strange black vortex flashed around him. This. Impossible. Seeing that Yi Langtian couldn't do anything with his own demon Yuan death wheel technique, Cheng Hao shouted with a look of disbelief. It seems that the martial arts of your Yuantian great teaching are just like that. Yi Langtian was unforgiving and slandered. Then, with a thought, behind Cheng Hao, I don't know when a dark portal emerged. As soon as Hajime appeared, a monstrous suction force erupted, directly engulfing it without a trace. It was Yi Langtian who used the devouring talisman to transform into an abyss and let him fall into it. What happened? Where's the boss? What kind of martial arts does this kid use? Seeing Cheng Hao suddenly disappear, Shen Shuo immediately shouted, a little panicked. The key point is that Yi Langtian's martial arts are too weird. Here, the gang members of the Blood Shadow Gang couldn't help but look at each other, fearing each other. The big family is gone, what else is there to fight? Try it, what is the power of this devouring rune? Yi Langtian saw Cheng Hao being sucked into the dark portal, and his mind moved immediately. Fully mobilize the devouring rune to devour the Yuan power in him. Poor Cheng Hao, the head of the Blood Shadow Gang, how did he know that Yi Langtian had devouring artifacts such as the rune? Deep in the darkness, he couldn't extricate himself, and he couldn't get out. I only feel that I am forever in the abyss, imprisoned in swallowing. This strongly impacted his mind. But soon, a force of tyrannical and domineering devouring struck me, making me unable to react. In the blink of an eye, the energy in the body was swallowed up, and even the blood essence was swallowed up. Do not. You can't kill me, I come from Yuantian Great Sect. Cheng Hao screamed and struggled violently. He even moved out of Yuantian Dajao to deter Yi Langtian. But it still doesn't work at all. Boom. It wasn't until Yi Langtian completely devoured the latter's Yuan force that he threw him out like a dead dog. But at this moment, Cheng Hao turned into a mummified corpse, with a look of fear written on his face, which shows how frightened he was before he died. The boss is dead. Everyone, get out. Not far away, Shen Shuo screamed when he saw the mummified corpse with an incredible look. After that, he could no longer have any resistance. Turn around and run away. The rest of the Blood Shadow gang also shouted, scared out of their minds, and ran away in a hurry. It's a pity that Yi Langtian didn't plan to let these people go. With a wave of the palm, the violent devouring power turned into chains, entangling these people, and then continuously absorbing the yuan power of these people. At the same time, Yi Langtian's cultivation base is also growing fast. Until the last person turned into a mummified corpse, his cultivation base also reached a small achievement in the profound realm. It seems that this thing is still used less and swallowed a lot, and other people's mental energy will inevitably be contaminated with it. If I were not a Juyin Tianfu master, I'm afraid that sooner or later my spirit will be disturbed, and then qi deviation. After returning to his senses, Yi Langtian noticed the scattered memory fragments in his mind. At the moment, he also tried to shake his head and let himself return to normal. Thank you for saving this boy. My name is Su Mushui, and I come from Daoyi Sacred Land. I don't know what your son is called. Along with Cheng Hao's death, the broken Yuansuo, which had been clinging to his neck, also broke, and Su Mushui finally regained his freedom. She moved her delicate body and came to Yi Langtian's side, thanking her sincerely. Under Yi Langtian, from the Daong dynasty. Seeing this, Yi Langtian cupped hands. Yi Langtian was also slightly surprised when he saw Su Mushui's face up close. Chapter 45. I have to say that in the original script, Su Mushui was one of the confidants of his protagonist's clan brother Yi Chen. It is indeed beautiful and moving, bright and white teeth. I saw that her hair was shiny, her body was slender, her body was shiny, and she had a beautiful appearance. Among the women Yi Langtian knew, in terms of her beautiful eyes, only Gong Suzan could match her. Even Yun Juror was slightly inferior. Daong Dynasty. What's that place? Hearing Yi Langtian's words, Su Mushui asked subconsciously. In her opinion, Yi Langtian has the strength to kill the small and powerful people in the Profound Realm, and it should come from those great sects or sacred land in the eastern Profound region. As a result, he was born in an obscure dynasty. Hearing this, Yi Langtian said with a smile. The Daong dynasty is just a low-level dynasty in the Dongshuan region. However, as soon as these words came out, Su Mushui, Qin Lu and the others showed stunned expressions, and then they looked at Yi Langtian with an incredible look. Low-level dynasty. You mean you were born in a lower dynasty? How can that be? Everyone was surprised again and again, and when they saw Yi Langtian's eyes, they changed again and again. You must know that there are no secular dynasties among the forces under Daoyi Sacred Land. But occasionally some of talents come from those super dynasties. Even if it is from a high-level dynasty, it is very rare. As a result, the young man in front of him was born in a low-level dynasty. This is not really surprising. Young Master Yi, although you saved us just now, the seed of this divine essence nest tree cannot be given to you. Not long after the conversation, Su Mushui looked at Yi Langtian apologetically, asking for it. To be honest, if Yi Langtian wasn't there today, I am afraid that everyone present will die. Even if she is the little princess of Daoyi Sacred Land, there is a risk of falling. But the seeds of the divine essence nest tree are of great importance to them. It is impossible to give it to Yi Langtian. Oh, it seems that Miss Su is determined to get the seeds of this divine essence nest tree. Yi Langtian raised his brows. Sorry, young Master Yi. The seed of the divine essence nest tree has a very special meaning to Daoyi Sacred Land, and I really can't give it to you. But we Daoyi Sacred Land, can we exchange something of equal value with you? Su Mushui shook her head with a firm face, thinking of a compromise. Hearing this, Yi Langtian couldn't help but keep silent. At the same time, the atmosphere in the field was also a little tense. It seems like the next moment is about to break out into a big battle. Even if Qin Lu and others knew that they were definitely not Yi Langtian's opponents, but if they really started, even if they died, they would not hand over the seeds of the divine essence nest tree. If that's the only way, it's a big deal. Seeing everyone's arrogance, Yi Langtian didn't want to smile. He spread his hands and said, since Miss Su proposed an equal exchange, then do you know what in Sacred Land can be compared to the seeds of this divine essence nest tree? Now, I neither lack martial arts nor Xuanyuan Dan. Hearing this, Su Mushui was also extremely embarrassed, and couldn't help scratching her head. Yi Langtian is right, the seeds of the Shenyuan nest tree are very rare. Otherwise, the people of the Blood Shadow Gang would not ambush them. Besides, Yi Langtian saved the lives of himself and others. It would be unreasonable to seize the seeds of the Divine Essence nest tree at this time. Su Mushui pondered in her heart, and after a while, she discussed in a tentative tone. Young Master Yi, if you give us the Divine Essence nest seed, I will say that Sacred Land owes you a favor. In the future, if you encounter difficulties, I can ask my father to save you 3 times. You must know that the head of Daoyi Sacred Land is a strong wheel-turning realm. He is the true powerhouse in the profound sky continent. If someone has the backing of a wheel-turning realm powerhouse, not to mention that they can run wild, but at least they can be arrogant for a lifetime. No need, Miss Su. I'll tell the truth, it's not impossible for me to give up this Divine Essence nest, but I have a condition. Yi Langtian waved his hand, and then said with a serious expression. What conditions? Su Mushui's beautiful eyes changed, and she couldn't wait to ask. If not necessary, Su Mushui is not willing to have a bad relationship with Yi Langtian. God knows how far this guy from the low-level dynasty can go in the future. If you become the top powerhouse between heaven and earth, you will undoubtedly set up a strong enemy for Daoyi Sacred Land. That's the qualification that allows me to enter a sacred land, a volume of inside magic. Yi Langtian said solemnly. Qualifications for inside magic. I'm afraid this is inappropriate. Su Mushui was stunned for a while, a hint of helplessness flashed across her pretty face. Daoyi Sacred Land has 4 major temples, corresponding to 4 magical techniques. However, these magical techniques are the foundation of Daoyi Sacred Land's life. Only direct disciples of each temple are eligible for insight. Yi Langtian is not a person from Daoyi Sacred Land. If he wants insight, he may be out of order. But at this moment, Su Mushui was struggling very much in her heart and was extremely contradictory. Yi Langtian saved everyone's life and gave up the fight for the Divine Essence nest. Even if the latter mentioned this condition, she would not be able to meet it. I was very sorry in my heart. Every time I think about this in the future, I will not be happy. Thinking about this, Su Mushui's eyes narrowed, and she gritted her silver teeth and said, Young Master Yi, this is a serious matter. Why don't you tell us about Sacred Land first, and I'll tell the sect master later. Don't worry, I said that Sacred Land is not a tyrannical place, and I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.